Well, fears are growing this morning that ISIS could strike inside the United States, but our sympathizers already here. This man, accused of being a jihadi serial killer, police say Ali Mohammed Brown executed 4 men over the last 5 months, his bloody crusade to punish the United States. Brown told cops, quote, "My mission is vengeance. Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, all these places where innocent lives are being taken every single day by America, by this government. So a life for a life," end quote. And if you think he is a lone wolf, our next guest says you better think again. Joining me now is Dr. Jihadi, founder of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy. Doctor, thank you for being with us this morning. That quote sending chills through many a spine. Is he a lone wolf?
Well, I can't tell you, Elizabeth, how harmful this term lone wolf is because, you know, while at the last step they may act as part of their own actions as far as the terror violence is concerned, lone wolf implies he's not connected to the global narrative of his radical Islamism, and ISIS is using and operating at a bandwidth that we've just never seen before. It's a significant threat, and we see the same thing that many apologists wanted to say before after the Boston bombers, after Nidal Hassan. There have been over 300 arrests of radicalized Muslims who may ultimately not be part of a big terror movement as far as their last steps of actions are concerned, but the drive, the fuel that moves them is a narrative, a global narrative that's anti-freedom, anti-Western, that targets America, targets Britain, targets all those that stand in the way of establishing an Islamic State and the Islamist movement everywhere around the world.
But, you know, we just heard from Chairman Martin Dempsey that ISIS is not a direct threat right now on our soil, that this is not as big of a deal as maybe we thought last week. What do you think about that? Is he wrong?
You know, as somebody who's on the front lines countering these ideologies as a Muslim, it is just horrifying to me that we can't seem to yet get this right, and that, okay, fine, it's almost like we have a whack-a-mole program and approach to national security globally as far as groups like Boko Haram, Hamas, ISIS, Muslim Brotherhood, and others, and yet we say, oh, it's not a big threat, let's just ignore it and it'll go away, nothing to see here. Same thing with individuals like Mohammed Brown, Nidal Hassan, etc. We don't want to deal with the deeper problem and say, you know what? The threat is now greater than it's ever been since 9/11. And the reason they say, Elizabeth, there's no threat, because they don't want to operate in a realm where they have a strategy, where they identify that, you know, this is the new Cold War of the 21st century. Global Islamism is on the rise. The president and his administration do not want to figure out what to fill into that vacuum, so they'd rather say there's no problem. And for those of us trying to fight on the front lines, we're sort of left hanging in the wind with no support.
So, Dr. Jasser, you would say ISIS indeed may already be here.
You know, the UK has had more Muslims go to fight with ISIS than they have Muslims in the Royal Armed Services. So there's 500 plus, and there have been almost 1,000 that have gone. So it's not only here, it may be easier for ISIS assets, rather than going to the Middle East like Syria or Iraq, to operate on the soil here. And I hope and pray that our Homeland Security are following it, because it's not if, it's when we get attacked on our soil, I hate to say.
Hard to hear, but important to hear. Dr. Jasser, thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you, Elizabeth.